depending on your neighborhood, anywhere from 12 to almost 18%, really. We have seen properties from Star to Cuna, Meridian, Boise, Eagle, Garden City, especially the Boise Bench, increase in value significantly over the last 2 years, and the projections are that it will continue to go up. With that, the value of the properties is skyrocketing as we see people start to abandon areas like California or East Coast, or people want a more relaxed view of life, a little bit more space, and they want, it's up to you to decide why you think people are leaving their homes and coming here to Boise. But what that results in is a problem of supply and demand. We see less than a month's worth of supply of homes in the Boise area, which is causing a lot of competition. And you can expect, if you are a seller, several bids on a property if, that's a big if, the property is in good condition. As we can see here, home ownership rate in the Boise area is starting to increase, especially from, we see fewer renters, more homeowners. That is directly from people moving here to occupy homes. The Boise market, because of appreciation, has been so high. We are seeing people come here and willing to pay, or some people are willing to pay more than market price just to have a property. But what that means for rentals and investors in the area is that the cash flow for these properties, as in after paying off that monthly mortgage, your principal, your insurance, taxes, maintenance, property management, the amount of cash flow for many investors in the area, if they're buying now, is minimal to even negative. So a lot of investors in the area, if they're going to be buying here at all, have to go to off-market deals to make it even worth their time. And these are typically the people that are bringing cash for these properties. And in order for them to have a decent amount of return, there needs to be at least a breaking even of cash flow. Because if you bank on appreciation, which a lot of people in the Boise market are doing, especially in the Meridian market where we see a lot of subdivisions being built, a lot of people who are buying properties here will justify paying over market cost because they believe that the value of properties are going to continue to increase, and they're betting that the amount of equity in their house will continue to build on account of the appreciation. If I buy a house for $350,000, in a year from now it's going to be worth $390,000, then that's okay, because all of a sudden I have $40,000 or $40,000 worth of equity. It's okay that I'm paid a little extra for it. Now, for some people, this is eerily reminiscent of the 2008 crash, where a lot of investors and homeowners bought property on the account of how much it's worth and the appreciation. And then when the market crashed and values tanked, all of a sudden they couldn't refinance or sell for their life. They're just taking massive losses. And you all know what happened then. So Boise market does have a lot of the indications of a lot of people are moving here. It's a strong market. Appreciation is through the roof. Tons of new divisions and subdivisions are being built. For me, it makes me curious as to how long it will last and how long we'll see people continue to move here, and how long until the problems that we're seeing in other areas that are causing people to move to Boise start to become problems in Boise, where things are too expensive, people can't afford them. The majority of houses being sold and the majority of houses in the area are 3 bedrooms, usually 2 bathrooms, single family. Boise isn't necessarily an old town, so there's not a ton of old brick and mortar multifamily buildings to be had. A lot of them are newer. There's a lot more infill housing. And so the type of property that's prevalent in the area, these 3 bedroom, 2 bath, single families, are what's really driving the market. And as we can see here, the age of homes that are less than 20 years old is catching up to the amount of homes that are almost, 60 to 80 years old. A lot of new houses are being built here. So the question that we want to ask for how quickly someone can expect their house to sell. Also, for those of you who are familiar, Data USA is a great website and software that you can use for free that helps you take a look at different types of demographics in cities. For example, for Boise, they have anything about COVID, diversity, economy, education, housing, and living. This isn't quite right. This looks to be about the tax assessed value for properties, not the actual market value of the property. But what you can see is that even in the tax assessed value, there's a $24,000 increase in just 1 year. And for that, that's about 12%, I want to say. Alrighty. And the median income for the Boise area around $56,000, $57,000 for the years of, that's 2018, a couple of years ago. It is something that's indicative of a potential problem. If you continue to see housing prices increase, and I'll get to that in this next section, and we're not seeing that household income increase, a lot of people that are the bread and butter of the Boise area, the people that live and work here, all of a sudden are going to get outpriced by the amount of people that are coming in with a lot of money from somewhere else. But the main question of the day, if I'm selling a house, how fast can I expect it to sell? Big question is, the big answer to that is it depends. So this is a software called PropStream. You can use this software to find properties, get an idea of what things are worth, how are things moving in a market. It does cost money, but I'm going to give you guys a little taste. So what I've done for this scenario right here is I looked at Boise and I looked at properties that have failed listings. So I'm looking for properties that somebody lived in, so an owner occupant, so someone that lived in the property that they were trying to sell. And we're going to see people that failed listings. We're going to see, well, how long were they on the market? These are people that could not sell their house, and we're going to check them out. And I bookmarked a couple of them. So here's one, 2315 Broadway. Looks like it's a 5-bed, 3-bath. The carpeting and the wallpaper needs some work, but that's some nice trim. The wooden door looks pretty nice. Old school chandelier. Very old school type of layout for the room. These tall separated vertical windows are interesting. Fireplace and grandfather clock. So this thing is in decent, that looks like a pretty classic hardwood floor over there. This property is in decent condition. However, if it were me, I would take down the wallpaper, paint the walls, and replace the carpets, and maybe refinish the hardwood floors. But oh, see, that's beautiful. If we can get, what's that in the corner? That looks like might be something over there. This property has some really good bones. It would just need to be touched up to be worth a lot. And the kitchen is a little outdated. No stainless steel. Doesn't look like granite countertops at all. And kind of older. That's an older style of cabinet. Use stainless steel dishwasher. Okay, hardwood floors here are not in great condition. Definitely gonna need some work. So this one, we'll look at, this one was on the market, and for one reason or another, it did not sell. And you might be thinking, okay, well, there's some paint issues here, hardwood. Overall, the whole property is in decent condition, but it definitely needs some updating. If I were to guess, it's a 3,000 square foot property. I'd guess it doesn't need a lot, but I'd say it probably needs between $20,000 and $30,000 just in updates, just maybe redo. Oh yeah, see, we're gonna redo a bathroom, probably redo the kitchen, redo some flooring with the sides of the house, or refinish some flooring. There's just going to be a lot of little things that could probably add up, and with the price of materials going as high as they are, it probably needs a bit. I could be wrong. It's just my personal opinion. Let's take a look here. This is going to tell us the information that it was when it was on the MLS. So this property, they listed it for $1 million, $995,000, and they took it off the market just about a month and a half ago, middle of December. And it was on the market for, what is that, 4.5 months. So this property in central Boise, Broadway is in a pretty central part of Boise. They put it up for $1 million, 5-bed, 3-bath, 3 fireplaces, and it couldn't sell. And let's go down here. So if we look down here, we'll see that in July, oh, so they took it on and off the market a couple times. So Oh, no, they didn't. So we have a property here. In July, they listed it for $1.2 million and they reduced it by over $200,000. Looks like around here they had someone that was interested and made an offer on it and it failed. So it looks like they backed out. So someone talked about making an offer on it and it was pending for about a month and a half and then they backed out or something happened that they didn't want it anymore. So we have a property that's in a very high appreciating part of the neighborhood. But one thing that I want people to understand when it comes to the Boise market is that it's hot for a certain reason. People want to live in this area, but people want to make sure they're getting a good deal. Now, if you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath that's completely redone, it looks great, then you should probably sell on the market. If you have nothing pressing on you, if you don't have a renter in there you don't want to deal with, if you don't, if you aren't behind on any payments, if it's in great condition, those types of things, you can probably sell your property pretty fast in the market. But what I see very, very consistently in the amount of people that I talk to is we'll have a property that happens to be in a good neighborhood like this one. And so because of that they think that they can just list it for whatever they want and they'll get it. And so people will say, well, I'll just list it. You're going to offer me, I want to list it. I want to see what I can get. And I tell them, okay. And so the people will come back to me after, 5 months and say, well, it didn't sell. And I'll ask them how much they listed it for. And it'll be, twice as much as anything else in the area has sold for. So this one has no comparable properties in the area. This one's going to be difficult. So when it comes to selling a house in the area, if you need to understand that just because it's a house in Boise doesn't mean it's desirable. Everything is desirable to someone, but if you want top tier bidding war, California home buyers coming to move here, you need to understand your market. And that market is like 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses, fully redone, updated kitchen and baths that they don't have to do anything to, or at least they don't have to do much to. Think about it this way. If you lived a couple states away and you were going to move somewhere else and you were escaping super high prices and you were escaping, a different type of living and you moved here, would you want to buy a house? Would you want to pay over market value for a house and then spend another $30,000 to $50,000 redoing the house? And you have to live somewhere else while you're doing it if you can't live in the house itself? And I personally wouldn't. Why should someone pay over market for something if they're going to have to redo it themselves as they're moving into a new town? So if you want to sell fast, you need to understand who's going to be the person that wants to buy fast. Let's just one example. Let's look at another one. Okay. Oh, whoops. That's the same one. Let's look at you. All right, Kootenai. 3990 Kootenai Street. Another 5-bed, 3.5 bath. Looks pretty good. 3,200 square feet on just under half an acre. Almost just about 28 years old. All right. Okay, so what do we see here? We have a nice, looks almost polished, really. We have a nice driveway. The roof looks pretty good. The windows look new. Yeah, brickway looks new. Hardwood floors, pretty basic. Nice. See, this type of property I would expect to sell pretty easily. The flooring's good. The paint is neutral everywhere. The exterior looks really nice. We have an updated kitchen with granite and an island, stainless steel appliances. We have an updated cabinetry. Everything matches. It looks good. It's been obviously modeled well. Lots of counter space, lots of natural sunlight, oversized living room. So this is the property that you might be able to expect to sell pretty easily. It's been the kitchen, the bathroom isn't super updated, it looks like. But overall, this is move-in ready. It has no major glaring problems with it. You could walk into this, and this is something that you and your family could live in. This might be a bit of an issue. Sometimes when you have bedrooms that have these slanted ceiling like this, it's not super desirable because it limits what kind of dressers or cabinetry you can put in there. And usually these ends up being like a teenager's room or a kid's room because adults don't want to deal with that. And again, that's not super desirable. Not sure why they have that there. Master bath, okay. See this, they spent the money on the master bathroom, didn't really update the guest bathroom, dual vanity, really interesting shower. Yeah, so this is one that I would tell you looks pretty good. That backsplash doesn't really match, but that's just my opinion. And it has a deck. So all in all, this is a property that has been redone and shouldn't have a problem selling. Nice yard, has a shed. So let's see what happened to it. So it did not sell. It was on the market for over 5 months and did not sell. Anyone guess why? 5-bedroom bath, very desirable street. I agree. Lots of living space for sure. Hardwood, formal dining. It's definitely good property. Let's see, did they adjust the price at all? They listed it at $880, increased it by $45,000, then dropped it. Had a buyer that was somewhat interested, and then they backed out. They said, never mind. Okay. And they wanted $880,000 for it. Would you, for example, if you're someone in the area that's looking to sell their house, would you buy a house that's a 5-bed, 3-bath for almost $900,000? If it's that expensive, why even buy here? Let's look at some comparable properties. See if there's anything like it. Usually when a realtor is trying to figure out how much something is worth, or an appraiser, they look for properties in the nearby area. It looks like there is nothing comparable, which is interesting. That's not typical. Well, let's see if we can figure this out. So it's number 4, right? What we can do is we can zoom in and we can click some houses around it, try to figure out, well, what did the house next to it sell for? All right, let's see if we can find out. Okay, so as we can see here, it has a long driveway and is situated behind another house. So you have to drive up to it. Has some trees to cover the noise, which is not bad. And a large lot behind it. It's not really doing anything. Well, let's look at this house. This house looks to be about the same size. Maybe. This is a 4-bed, 2.5 bath. It's tax assessed at $750. It's on an acre. Let's look at this one. This one is worth $470, almost $300,000 less. Again, these are just estimates. You should always use an appraiser or an agent, or you should always have a professional tell you what a property is worth. And this one is worth, tax assessed at almost half the value. It's a 2-bed, 1.5 bath. Makes sense. So what we're seeing here is we have 2 larger properties peppered in with a few smaller houses. And it seems like even though this house is in good condition, why would nobody wanted to pay $900,000 for it? And it was on the market for 5 months. Now, depending on who you are and why you want to sell, waiting 5 months to get paid and then not getting paid can be a death sentence, or it can be something that's not really a big issue. So as we talked about before, rule number 1 for how soon is your house going to sell in Boise, make sure that the house you're going to sell is appealing to the type of person you want to sell to. You need to know your market. Secondly, you need to know your location. And you need to understand the comps. According to this, no properties in the area that are 5-bed, 3.5-bath have sold recently in the area. If you are in a neighborhood and your property is, on a busy street, has a long driveway, doesn't have a lot of things being sold around it, and you have to be careful if you're looking to be a price trend setter. So for example, this person decided to throw out a number based on what they thought the property was worth. As you can see down here, the tax assessment is around $585,000. That might be a good indication of why they didn't get what they wanted. They were $300,000 over their tax assessment. So if you want to sell quickly, or at least not 5 months down the line, only to take it off the market, you have to understand there's a hot market and then there's a realistic market. Everything has a price, and the right price has to be right for both people. Otherwise, you're going to end up in this situation. Let's check out one more. This one. Okay. That's a townhouse, 2-bed, 1.5 bath, a little bit smaller at 1,000 square feet. Let's check it out. We got some cracks in the driveway. Siding this is the sun-facing side, so it's a little more damaged than the rest. Roof is interesting, long and slanted. Looks to be in decent condition. Long walkway. Bathroom's in decent shape. Can't tell if that's supposed to be bent or not. Nice hardwood floors. Formal dining area. Kitchen isn't updated. That's an old school fridge. That's old school. The cabinetry is a little bit updated. We looked. Oh wait, is that a gas stove? No, it's not. Bathrooms are a little small. Paint looks to be okay. A lot of white though. A lot of people were saying they like a lot of houses that I walk into and I work on have that beige to grayish, so neutral but not bare. If that makes sense. Backyard looks pretty nice. Big paint difference here. Probably needs to have some more grass put down. But there's a little play area, and that's a pretty nice fence too. Overall, pretty good starter home. I could definitely see someone living here as they just moved here. Totally see it happening. So let's see what happened. The property was assessed for $210,000. A good rule of thumb is that a market assessed values anywhere from like 8 to 12 to 15% under market value. Not always. It depends. Like everything depends. Let's see here. They listed it for $275,000 for a 2-bed, 1.5 bath. A couple of years ago, that was a median price for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's your own house, not a townhouse. So he has no HOAs, pretty close to Boise State campus, fireplace. Let's see here. On the market for a little over 2 months. Oh, they listed it for $265,000, and within a couple of days, someone had an offer on it, and then they increased the amount of price that they wanted for it, and the person backed out. So this might be some indication that someone ended up getting a little sticky fingered and wanted some information and wanted to be able to get a little more for it. Maybe something that's happened and the buyer backed out. Just knowing this information doesn't always tell us why something didn't sell, but it can give us a couple clues. So we have a property that didn't sell after a little over 2 months for $275,000. If you check out its location, let's see if we can find any clues as to maybe why it didn't sell. All right, looks like it's not in a busy street. It's in a subdivision. That's always good. Houses that are in a cul-de-sac usually sell for a little bit more, and corner lots also sell for a little bit more. So this one is really interesting, because I'm not necessarily seeing why it wouldn't sell. The only reason I can ask is because someone didn't want to pay that amount. So what we saw in the first example is that somebody wanted too much for a house that wasn't in move-in condition. Basically selling an investment property on the market and hoping to get it paid for. The second example for the property, we saw the house was in good condition and it was perfect for a family, but they wanted too much for it. Third problem is here. We have to understand what we're selling. So here, we have a 2-bed, 1.5 bath for 1,000 square feet. It's a townhouse, which means you're connected to somebody else right here. Is this the kind of house that a family is going to want to buy? Meaning this, and I would tell you that it's not. Is this the house that mom or parents, kids move into for a while? People that are coming to buy houses here are buying a house and they're planning to stick around for a while. They just spent a ton of money, which means any house they get needs to be supportive of the long-term goals that that family has. This house or this townhouse is not conducive to a growing family, someone that's moving here. And if you move here with the plans to build a family or to be here for a while, and all of a sudden, you buy your house and it doesn't appreciate as fast as other houses are, then you wait 5 years and go to sell it, then all of a sudden the house that you would have bought for $350,000 a couple of years ago is now $600,000. And all of a sudden you're in the same problem that you were before you moved to Boise. So these are just a couple examples of properties that did not sell in Boise, which seems to be something that you can't say in the same sentence with each other. If you want to sell your house fast and you want to make sure that you can sell it on your timeline in Boise, understand the condition of your property and who's going to buy what condition of a property. If it needs work, you need to make sure that you're pricing it so at a range that someone can buy it and do the work and get a good deal for it. Secondly, you need to understand your location and don't get greedy. If you have a property that's conducive to a new family and is in good condition and move-in ready, it will sell. But you need to understand what the comparable properties are and what would you pay for a property. For our last example, we saw $880,000 just wasn't going to cut it. And third, for a property like this, I think it kind of goes back to the first one. You have to know your market. If you have a townhouse that's 2-bed, 1.5 bath with square footage, you're not going to sell it to a growing family. That's going to be maybe a very young couple that is more business oriented. Maybe you're going to sell that to someone that wants to rent it out for their kids in college. Maybe that house is something that some recent college graduates are going to get a roommate and live in that for the first time. But all of these groups aren't going to be people that are looking to spend a huge amount of money on that first house, which means that $275,000 for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house is going to be out of the price range. For me, I probably would have listed this, or I would have bought this at around maybe 230 to 240. 230 to 240 for this house, and it would sell, I think, no problem. So if you want to sell your house fast in Boise on the market, know the condition of your property, know the location of your property and what living there actually means for the occupant, and know your market. Know who you're trying to sell the house to. And if your house is a certain way, a certain layout, you're going to sell it to a certain person. If you want to skip all of that and not have to do market research, not have to find an agent, not have to find out, who you're going to sell it to, and you wanted to hit the easy button and you want to get cash for it, you could always work with someone like me, professional house buyer. We offer cash and we sell on your timeline, and it's the easiest way to do things. So there you have it. A little video explaining why properties sell and don't sell in Boise. You can see there's a ton more here that didn't sell. This could be someone took it off the market after like a week or two because they decided they didn't want to. This could be someone, they couldn't find a buyer. This could be a lot of reasons, but we can see there's definitely people in the area that have tried to sell and haven't. And it's likely because they didn't understand one of those few key things. All right, that's going to be the end of our video today. Thanks for checking us out, and we'll be having more content to you soon. And we do try to keep it real and try to show you exactly what's going on and why it is. And at the end of the day, I'm just going to give you guys information, and you can let me know what you think about it. All right, have a good one.